It's already recorded.
Oh, shoot.
Hey friends, Jay, Travel by Jay. I'm here with this week's episode of Between Departures. I am your host, Jay, and my beautiful co-host, my wife, Soraya. Say hi to the nice people. Say hi to the nice people.
Hi, nice people.
Oh, oh my goodness, a little bit. I screwed up a little bit.
It's been quite a week for us.
Yeah.
From one place to the other, and then I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I could handle all the coldness in Utah, but bring me to Florida, give me 30-degree weather, and suddenly I'm sick.
I'm just trying to, just trying to.
Right. I'm just surprised you haven't kicked me out of a master suite.
I always told you the bad, look, this is what we do. We'll figure it out. We'll put up the invisible Ricky and Lucy friggin' well, so you can
exactly
keep your germs over there, but that's okay.
I did notice you did get out the air purifier real fast.
I did. Let's not all share in that wonderful journey of sickness. That's a trip that I'm trying not to take, and I'm not booking it, right?
I know.
So that's good. So,
perfect.
It's funny. We sit here, and I guess while this downtime, we sit here and we watch a lot of television, because as you're kind of recovering, that's what you kind of do. And I find myself, and I even catch myself when we're traveling. I catch myself watching whatever shows in the region, and it's funny because I started to look at this a lot of these Korean shows. I guess
you love the Korean shows,
Korean dramas,
the K-pop stuff.
Our grandson was into that over the summer. What is that?
K-pop Demon Hunters. He actually introduced you to that.
Whatever it was, this kid talked about it so much that I actually thought, I said, you know what? Let me go take a look at this and see what this is.
Sure, he's watching the right things.
It's funny because I have been to Korea a few times. So,
wow.
But that's back in the day, and I never came back to say, I actually want to learn about this culture.
When K-pop was not popular?
Exactly. It was just Korean food, and street food and things like that. It's funny.
Although I will say Korean barbecue is pretty damn on point.
Yeah, again, they make it Americanized. We like one place that we go here that is kind of authentic, but that's good.
Korean face products.
Yeah. Shout out to Hallyu, our boy Ray. He owns it, and that's our place. We love to go there.
Delicious.
We love to go there.
If you want to get in touch with your love for Korean barbecue, that is an amazing place to go.
Have some samjam. It's actually a really good experience.
Very good experience. Ask for Ray.
Ask for Ray. He's the man. So it's funny. It kind of put me in a mind that a few years ago, I was working, and there was a volunteer at the hospital, and she was a college student, and she was so intrigued about the Korean culture that she actually took a semester of Korean studies.
Cool.
And so she was talking about she wanted to go travel to Korea and do these things, and kind of got into our conversations.
Yeah.
And recently I was just thinking, believe it or not, I know it's. I wasn't thinking about our travels. I was actually thinking about a bigger picture for a change, right? How does travel actually equates to learning? I know we always talk about that with our grandkids and getting them exposed, but how does travel really relate to learning for us?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing that I have learned from all travels where we have gone is the fact that the world is so big and yet so small, and there's room for everybody. Everybody's culture, everybody's belief, everybody's religion. I really do feel that it gets you more in touch with just seeing the other side of so many things. It's not just us here in North America. Um, we've even like learned to like speak like certain little words here and there. So, teaching you language. Calamera. That's my favorite word. That's hello in Greek. Yeah, I mean, I just think it really is eye-opening to people, kids or adults, and the fact that there are other types of cultures out there. So I think in any way, shape, or form, traveling can teach you so many things. What have you learned?
It's funny because, American culture, if we say we want to have that, we introduce the world to so many different things.
We have, yeah.
And they take our cultures, they take the things that because we have more of like a pop culture and stuff like that, whether it's movies, music, style, and they take it and make it their own. I mean, and they kind of take what we have and make it better. So I think when it comes to learning, I think there's many aspects to this. I think that one of the aspects is when I think about our grandkids, how can traveling help them in their lives and help to make them a better people?
Right.
They're boys, so make them better people.
Well, let's start with the fact that your grandkids, I'm going to say your grandkids, are, as it is, a hodgepodge of a lot of cultures in one little body.
That's true. I mean,
so they're already exposed, to their Japanese culture through their mom and their baba, and then to the black culture from you. I've even put in my little Latino stuff out there so that they can learn some stuff. But yeah, I think it is very eye-opening. I think that generation is going to be really open to people and experiences and places, which personally just makes me really hopeful for the world.
You're hopeful for the world. Well, I mean that's good. I mean that's great right there. I mean we want to say that it's okay. When I think about the learning thing, I know that our kids have a new way of learning. Think about it. We have these things with our college kids called learning abroad, where they're already taking these trips.
Semesters abroad. Yeah.
Right. And they go and do, studies, and I think it broadens them. It makes them a better person by being exposed to the world. I mean, not just reading the context in a book, but when you look at it, I know some high schools now are starting to do these international trips. And then you have middle schoolers that are starting to do the international trips. And I'm not talking about just going to, our neighboring countries like Mexico next door.
Right. Or Canada.
Or Canada. I think that our kids are getting the exposure going to like Europe, the Asian cultures.
South America.
I mean, we're seeing things. They're just not reading in a book to say, hey, this is what I read. This is what a cherry blossom looks like. Wow, it looks great online. However, having them to go and expose, and I think it's more of a sensory thing. I think when they go and they see, taste, smell, hear, being in the middle of something, going to Japan and being right in the Shibuya crossing, where all these, thousands of people at one time. It's a famous intersection.
I did not know that.
We'll be doing that
in March.
Next month, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
But having our kids going and learning culture in Italy, learning the Roman culture, going to Paris, going to the Louvre, going to actually see the London Bridge, not the original one that's over here now in America because somebody bought it and transported over here.
Wow.
Going to London, seeing Big Ben, seeing Parliament, seeing all these exposures. Because guess what? Other people are coming to our culture they're coming to our country for the same thing.
Yeah.
They're coming to see how Americans do things.
That was pretty cool to see, I have to admit.
You know?
Big Ben was not so big.
Right.
But it was beautiful, though. It really was. And then that plaza that they had in front of Parliament, where it had all the flags of the Commonwealth of England.
Correct.
Was pretty cool.
But to go lay your eyes on these things, and I think culture is just, it's amazing, and I think what it does is it creates, the younger we expose our kids to these things when they're traveling, whether they're traveling, with their schools or with their parents, the more open and the more that we can cross lines and have a more diversified way of thinking.
Absolutely.
Because
Well,
because we as American thinks the world is America.
Yeah,
and that is not the case, because we've gone to places.
There's so much more.
And it's funny because they'll look at us and they'll be like, okay, they're waiting for us to speak because then they want to see what kind of accent that we have. Are we going to be European, or are we going to be Spaniard? Are we going to, no matter what?
I'll tell you this, honestly, the times that we have gone to Europe, I have used Spanish more than English, which I think is so super cool.
Well, it crosses, you know.
I mean, when you speak to somebody in Europe, they probably speak anywhere from 3 to 5 languages.
And we're stuck on one.
Which is amazing.
They learn 4 to 5 languages in school.
Yeah.
With other regions, because they are exposed, their countries are the size of our states.
Yes.
So as they cross in the line and, taking a train for an hour over, and you're in a total different culture.
Yeah.
And people are going back and forward. I think, that is actually, it speaks for itself. It speaks volume.
Cool. Absolutely. And again, I think it's an easier way to, again, make sure that our future generations know that we're not that different from each other. All you have to do is just reach out and touch someone. And it's like everybody has a different culture, a different way of thinking. But it is making the world smaller. Like I said, making the world smaller, one trip at a time.
Yeah. But I do say, old dogs can learn new tricks. And what I mean by that is, even though we're talking about how travel is good for learning for our young minds and our future, for definitely for business, I mean, things are crossed. For a while, Chinese was the Mandarin was a big language because of the business culture. Right. International schools of business was doing a lot of that. But for us, it still is not too late for an older person. When I say older, anybody that's not in that student level, meaning so college or exposure.
Not older.
No, you're seasoned. Right? But like going out and learning other cultures, because you'll be like, oh my God, this is so cool that I remember, I just tell this quick story. So my pops, I was talking to him one day, right? And it was like, hey, why did you want to travel and do this thing? He says, I did something because I wanted to see the Eiffel Tower. I just read it in a book, and it's just something that I wanted to do.
Right. So
to go do that based on, he actually wanted to take a picture and make it reality. Granted, he gets it, he's like, wow, this is it. But the thing about it is the journey there, the journey afterwards, and the journey around it actually opened the mind up to exposure.
That's true.
I will tell you this, I didn't have that. I had a dream of seeing the world, but I had no idea, because my whole thing was, I want to see the world. And if you ask me, what do I want to see? I'd be like, I don't know. I just want to see the world.
The girls in Brazil. I know.
Well, that was a motivation for joining the military, thanks to my recruiter back in the day, which, by the way, I still haven't made it there, but I saw other places in the world. So I'll let you off there. But the beauty part about it is when I did get there, I was able to get in there and to not only learn a culture, I learned Japanese. Not only were I able to learn how to write that, but read things, but I was able to immerse myself in that culture for those 3 years.
You were
3 years plus,
fluent.
right?
And you can still speak
3 years plus, right? You know, I do chopsticks, sushi, and all this other stuff. I'm just kidding. But no, it's funny. But I have learned certain things.
Yeah.
And, as a young mind being exposed, the younger you are is more easy to absorb stuff. And I will tell you,
True.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I did, and those are some things that you kind of learn. It's like riding a bike, truly, if you're in it long enough and dedicated. Living somewhere where you can't read, write, or there is none of your common language in any shape, form, or fashion, not even letters. Then you're sitting there like, what do I do? You do what you're supposed to do, and you learn it.
You watch cartoons to learn it.
You watch cartoons to learn it, right? Today, kids watch anime to do that now, more so. But it's just amazing that having that exposure and understanding of other cultures, not only that we know the differences, but biggest thing to me is we discover how much we are alike.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that is something that really continues to draw me to traveling. And then I want to make sure our kids have that experience, make sure the grandkids have the experience. And I want to set it up to where they hope they give their kids that, and we'll continue to learn and I want to create that generational tradition.
As human beings, we all have biases, right? Some are hidden, some are not so hidden. But I think we have the responsibility to work on our own biases so that we can accept people who are different from us. So I really do believe that the best way to do that is to expose yourself to as many people as possible, to as many cultures as possible, so that you can, figure out what your hidden biases are. I think we're all adults and responsible for those. And B, work on them. So I do think that is important. And again, it's not so different out there in the world than what we are. Somebody out there still has a mom that they love very much, or a grandma that has made a huge difference in their lives. We may not live in multi-generational houses like some people do out there. But hey, we still have, that love for our family. So it's fair.
I think I do agree with that. And I think one thing what you're saying is I think we have things in real world context, meaning we actually, now we have the exposure of watching documentaries, watching programs, watching movies, even no matter what it is, but give you that intriguing. But one thing that really has popped in, and I've talked to a ton of people, and I would say like a shit ton of people, right? And that would be, I did say that. You know what I mean? Is the ancestry and the there's something 1, 2, 3 or whatever. Anyway, most of the DNA testing, and so people are who they think they are. They're not, and then they finding out that they are. Their bloodline and genetics is actually taking them to a certain region or whatever. More people are becoming intrigued to say, "Wow, I am." It's funny that the people that I've talked to, and it's funny, they navigate to the less than 5%. Well, I'm 5% this, I'm 5% that, and it's like, you don't look like that, because the majority is not. You may be English, but everybody wants to know it, and it's a part of them. So that's the intriguing part. So, but guess what that does? That actually gets them out there into the world and to see things in a different way, and just to be open and exposed and. It's a learning. It's a learning for everybody. But we know travel is fun because we always do it. We go places. We go out and eat here in America, right? Everybody swears they're going to a sushi place. You know, I'm having sushi. But my question is are they really Japanese or are they Chinese? Are they Korean? Who's doing what? Are they Thai? I mean, it's not bad.
There are a lot of
it doesn't mean that they can't
Thai places that offer sushi, and apparently that's not a thing in Japan or Thailand.
You know what I mean? But again, how America is, we adopt things to what we think people want to in America. But I think when it comes to sushi, I remember going to Hokkaido.
Okay.
Which is, most people say, well, what's Hokkaido? Hokkaido is an island north of the mainland. But for many of you folks, and I know you've heard this word, Sapporo. For Sapporo beer. So that is where Sapporo's from. And I tell you, that was an amazing experience. I had never had crab that was just so delicious there. You walk into the market and you're doing things, or even the fish, because it's all cold water there.
That's true.
And it was an amazing experience. So that's crazy. I mean, you go to Korean barbecue and ask for Korean barbecue, the word is yes. Okay? Right? Would you go to Chinese and ask for Chinese food? The answer is no. You ask for food. You know what I mean? So understanding where you're at, it's amazing how we are adapted. I'm going to go get Indian food. I'm quite sure if I go to India, it's not Indian food. It's just whatever it is. Can I go to Mexico and get Mexican food? I mean, you can go on and on, but I just think it's funny because we make jokes of it, but that's what it is. Because when they come here, they don't say, "Can I have an American burger?" They just say, "Can I have a burger? Can I have fries?"
But we also do the same thing. We don't ask for an American burger. We just ask for a burger.
Exactly. So again, opening our mind up and understanding what people do and how they do it. Exposure.
It's exposure to different ways of doing things in life. So, again, the European, I think, have a beautiful way of looking at life in the sense that they live life to the fullest. They live outside their homes, so they don't require such a big home. They eat food, and sometimes, not sometimes, but always, dinner doesn't start till probably 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And it's like a leisure dinner. It's being present with the people that you're having dinner with, is, really savoring the food you have in front of you. So it's never just like, oh, we got to get done and eat in an hour because we got to go. So I think they have something right about this whole thing. And again, it's just
quality versus quantity.
Quality of life. And they smoke, but I do feel that as much of an oxymoron as this may be, their tobacco is healthier because it's got less chemicals in it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still don't recommend smoking by any means. I don't care how much healthier tobacco may be out there. It's like smoking is just a nasty habit, but still.
So tell me, what is one big thing? How was travel a big lesson to you? What did you learn the most about traveling?
I really love the fact that when we go to a new place, we go to a touristy place the first night, and then after that, we ask the waiter, the bartender, or any local, where do locals hang out? I love hanging out with the locals. First of all, they're very friendly. They love to open up their arms, and they want to show you as much as you want to see of their culture and their people and their food and whatnot. When we had goulash in Budapest, I mean, it was just amazing. That guy in that restaurant was just so willing to like show us like all the stuff that they eat and how they eat it and how it's made. So yeah, I think the exposure to locals, I think, has definitely been my favorite. Like your pops, I read things in history books, like the first Olympics in Athens, Greece, and just to be there, where the very first Olympics were held, was actually pretty exciting for me. Seeing the Louvre, seeing the Eiffel Tower. My parents' cake top for their wedding was actually the Eiffel Tower because it was supposed to be a romantic thing.
Wow, didn't
So
know that.
yeah. So again, it's like
Carmen, you are a romantic. I'm going to remind you that when I see you next time.
Yeah. So again, it was just it's just seeing, when we went to Dubrovnik. All those tiny little churches everywhere. Lori and I made sure that we went into the churches while you heathens were drinking. But, just seeing those small little churches and just feeling, the spirituality when you walked in. Didn't mean that, I was necessarily that religion or whatever it was, but you could tell just how cozy it was and how pure it was and how meaningful it was to those going to the church, The Italians absolutely love eating. And every time they eat, it's just like an explosion of flavors. And it's just, everything is an experience with Italians. So, yeah, I mean, again, I have loved every place that you and I have gone to. Berlin, not so much. Sorry, Berlin. Which I was so bummed about because Berlin was like,
we did see the wall.
Such an experience because
left?
It was such an important part of like World War II and how it ended. I mean, when you really think about the whole fact that that's where Hitler died, it's like you tend to think of all that history, and it was exciting. But yeah, the food not so much, at least not for me. But yeah, I guess I went around about a very long way of telling you I've loved every place we have gone to.
And hopefully you learned something from there. So for me, I think leaving when I did and starting to go into the world, immediately start off traveling, 17, thanks to my Uncle Sam, but I joined the military service, but it was that was my exposure. I think for me personally, that travel was a big personal growth for me because...
What was the furthest you had gone before then?
Maybe a couple hours, 4 or 5 hours, maybe from home. I mean, let's just be honest. In a car, DC, was probably the furthest,
And you went, what, 30 hours flight?
It was more like 12 hours flight, but it was halfway around the world, literally, to Japan.
Exactly.
But the thing about it is for me, it's a personal growth because I had to learn how to do things on my own. There was no family support. There was no friend support.
Yeah.
So I had to grow, and I had to grow personally and grow quickly. And, you learn how to adapt.
Yeah, of course.
And when you travel to different countries, there's things that come up that even now when we do it, we have to learn how to figure some stuff out. The thing about it is we have much better tools in order to do it.
Big problem solving
but
lesson.
Imagine this. Being in Japan, not speaking the language, or whatever country we were in, not speaking the language, not understanding anything. There were no maps. There was no Google. There was no Wikipedia. There was no Waze.
What?
There was absolutely no iPhones. We had the little green phones, which were their local phones, or were the green were the international phones. Yeah, but that was it. We had nothing else. and trying to have somebody to help get you somewhere, you would hope that they would look at you and say,
Yeah.
you're American, you can't speak Japanese, and your best bet is to get you back going toward a base.
Mm-hmm.
And you hope that you ran into another American soldier or sailor. So
if lost, return to USS Midway.
But I did that. And it was great. And you know what? I really could go on and on. That'll be for another podcast.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I do want to say that traveling is it is a great way of learning about yourself, about the world,
it's a hands-on
others in
classroom.
it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a sensory base. So with that in mind, hey, join us on some of our trips. But tell us how the world has been your learning, been your classroom.
And what have you learned?
Give us a feedback on that. We'd love to be able to share that with you and share that and repost it with some of our other viewers, because people some people want to be able to see that. And guess what? That's why we do what we do, because sharing our passion for travel with everyone, I think, is a great thing.
Absolutely.
So with that in mind, thank you guys for hearing us chatting it on today, because obviously we're passionate about it. Well, I was going to say, travel safe, travel often, travel by Jay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.